Welcome, everybody. Wanted to take a chance to go through this program, making Vision Care Direct more competitive in today's market. Thank you for taking time to attend this training. If you weren't able to attend the live training, we've recorded this for you so that you can take this and use it if you have new staff come on board. It's a great training tool. But this will explain a lot about why Vision Care exists and what we're doing to make independent optometrists more competitive in the marketplace today. Let's go ahead and get started then. Okay, so current state, a little bit background information on Vision Care Direct before we go into the current state. Vision Care Direct was created 12 years ago by a group of doctors, independent optometrists that saw the writing on the wall. They saw what the large insurance companies were doing to the reimbursements and control of their practice. And so Vision Care Direct over the last 5 years has actively been pursuing those changes and trying to make sure that independent optometry stays strong in the state of Oklahoma. Current state is you'll see that a lot of the vision plan market is changing more aggressively than it ever has before. Major vision plans are making huge pushes to gain business in your area by continually reducing premiums, cutting provider reimbursements, restricting your scope, and even installing retail locations to compete with your practice. So these are the reasons that Vision Care Direct exists. Our goal is to deliver you a better paying patient while returning patient control back where it belongs with you, their doctor. Okay, so vision plans today. What we'll see is you see these major vision plan companies use three basic strategies in order to increase their influence in the market, not yours. Unfortunately, in nearly every case, these solutions aren't made with your best interests in mind. So you'll see we have vertical integration, cutting provider fees, and increasing doctor control. And I think everybody's fully aware of what's going on there. Vertical integration, these large companies now own their own frame lines, they own their own labs, and they own their own optical chains. In a lot of cases, they'll even force you to use their lab so that they're making a margin off that. And what we're beginning to see is vision companies, these insurance companies, will lower their premium price so that brokers and HR representatives will buy their plan. So they lower their premiums to make it more attractive. Meanwhile, they're cutting reimbursements of the doctors to be able to afford to do that. So they're taking over the market as much as possible by lowering premium rates to make the plan more attractive. But instead of giving up margin to do so, they're taking that away from the doctor by restricting the scope of care, requiring the use of certain materials, chargebacks and forced discounts. I talked to an office this last week, Susie, that said that if you do anything on one of these insurance companies' plan outside the norm with their lab, you end up negative because of the chargebacks you get. So the patient costs you money unless you can sell them something extra at the office. So we see that also minimum prescription requirements being enforced on our doctors. They're forcing discounts on uncovered items, and we've already talked about mandatory use of their lab. Okay, so consumer habits. Your patients are becoming more and more educated about their buying decisions. They take more time to evaluate their options. We have to understand their expectations to adequately meet their needs. Susie, you want to talk a little bit more about this?
Yeah, I'd love to, James. There's several things they look at when we talk about consumer habits. And let's take a look at the next slide, if you don't mind, James. When our consumers look at what they want, and we have to remember, the consumer or our patient is more and more educated. They're out there on the web. They're looking. They want to know, first of all, what's their out-of-pocket? What options are covered? What kind of value are they getting for their money? Do they have a good network where they can go to their doctor? And what the premium is. I know one of the main things they tell us when they talk to us, James, is that they hate to be upsold. They want to know what their price is going to be and what value they're getting for their money.
That's right.
As James reiterated, what are we doing? What are we doing to help? Well, we've created Vision Care Direct. This is to compete against those big conglomerates so that you have the control to help your patients. We're here to help you be competitive and to preserve your margins and be more profitable. That's what we do.
Thank you, Susie. So let's talk about competing in today's market. There for Vision Care Direct to compete in today's market with all the strategies that we just outlined and Susie talked about the consumer habit, there's two different ways to compete in today's market. The first is to cut provider reimbursements. That is obviously not what we want to do to be able to compete to sell vision plans, to be able to deliver you a better paying patient. So we have to create a better vision plan, which is option two. Patients want better value, but they don't necessarily, the premium isn't the issue. The buyers are selling, the buyers are buying and the sellers are selling based on price, but the end consumer would rather have a better value than the lowest price on their plan. So we have to make sure that we're selling that to these buyers and brokers and to the HR representatives who are buying these vision plans for their employees. So this is a way we believe that we can gain market share with VCD. So you're going to see some changes we've made to the plan because we believe option two is a much better way to go about it, especially in the interest of our independent optometrists. So how do we do it? We create new vision plan designs with better coverage options, lower out-of-pocket expenses. To the patient, those are something that are absolutely must. But what we can't do is do it in a way that compromises your margins at your practice and ultimately your ability to care for the patients. So you'll see here with the new plan, instead of three different options, previously we had standard VCD, VCD plus complete eyewear, and VCD plus any frame. Well, that was very confusing not only to patients, but to a lot of our offices, and brokers did not want to take the time to learn it. Even though it provided a tremendous value and the highest margins of any plan we had and offered, we saw that that was confusing everybody. So what we did was we made a change. And this is a big deal for us. We still have the standard VCD plan in place. That way, if a patient wants to do something outside of the norm, you can always bill like you've always billed, anything above. Like, so if somebody wants a trifocal lens, that's a particular brand, you can go for that at your usual customary above that trifocal price. So now on the VCD Plus plan, the biggest deal is they're getting covered for a digital progressive instead of just the trifocal. They're getting upgraded to polycarb. They're getting an anti-reflective coating, which is a premium anti-reflective coating, scratch resistance, water repellent, and oil repellent. You get all of that included. And now the plan, instead of having the frame kit as a requirement, you're going to see that frame kit, instead of having that as a requirement, the patients can come into your office and choose any frame up to $130 and only pay that $15 copay. So we eliminate all the confusion by doing that. No more unbundling fees that were confusing and upsetting to the patient, and also an issue in filing. No more training on how to do an unbundling. So you'll see here in terms of reimbursement schedule, comprehensive eye exam on the standard VCD plan is the same. If you have a VCD Plus patient, you'll see after the first of the year that the patient will be able to, or excuse me, the office will be able to select a box that says we ordered this from VCD Labs, but you're not required to. But if you do, you get paid an extra $7 on that job. You'll see your reimbursement on the allowance. It's important to note that in Oklahoma, most of the time we sell a $130 allowance, which means we're going to pay you $90 on that frame that's up to $130 cost. It's also important to note that if a patient has a $130 frame allowance on VCD, and they pick, let's say they pick a $90 frame, you still file it as a $130 frame. That way you get the full $90 reimbursement that we've allotted for your office. That's a major difference from other plans. It's important to make sure that whoever's doing your filing knows how to do that so that you don't miss out on those margins. You can see the reimbursement set for single vision are $70 all the way through our line tropical and progressive at $115. Now, $15 of that lens is a copay from the patient, so you can subtract that and see exactly what we're saying to you. Now, we don't have a reimbursement for the coatings on the anti-reflectant, but that's also because if you use the laboratory that we put in place for you, you'll see that pricing in the lab includes that at no additional cost, so you're not having to pay for it. In fact, Susie, I know this isn't the presentation, but you'll see you can get a digital back surface progressive with a 22-layer AR coating on it for only $55. We haven't found a single office yet that's been able to touch that price, and we're matching quality with all the local labs as well. So, okay, Susie, you want to take this for me right now?
Yes, let's talk about the labs for just a minute, VCD Labs. One way to help you be more competitive is to look at the VCD Labs and use the lab. Our lab, Rochester, has been around for 80 years. They are very experienced. How can we make you more income? Well, we make the impossible possible when it comes to VCD labs. So let's look at some ways that we can make you more profitable. I'm going to use this example because a lot of people say, well, this is great, Susie, but give me some examples. So we're going to look at the standard VCD and the VCD Plus. When it comes to the frame, of course, you're reimbursed $90 for either one. But let's look at the digital progressive for just a moment. And by the way, the costs here on the standard VCD, these are the costs that several offices have given us that they receive. So for the digital progressive, for the standard, you're looking at $200. For the VCD Plus, it's $125. For the anti-reflective, your reimbursement is $125. For VCD Plus, it's $0 because it doesn't cost you anything. So let's look down here at the costs. Now, when we come to the frame, the standard VCD, we're talking $60. For VCD Plus, $13. For the digital progressive lens, the cost is $130 under the $150 under the standard, but only $50 under the Plus. And here's another big change right here when it comes to the anti-reflective coating. You'll see the standard is $60 for the cost, but $0 under the VCD Plus. But the main thing to look at here is the last two lines. Under the patient out of pocket, you'll see for the standard it's $200, but for the Plus, it's $15, which is a big deal for our members. And of course, when you look at the profit, you're still making more under the Plus than you are under the standard VCD. So let's look at the ways that Rochester helps you be more profitable. Well, first things first here, the cost of a digital PAL. This is your state-of-the-art full back surface freeform progressive lens. Your cost, $50. Now that includes the AR. So of course your cost for a premium AR here is $0. And of course, if they use our frames, if you want to have the frame kit, then it's $13 for the frame and the edging for your costs. One big thing we talk a lot about is turnaround time. The turnaround time for you is 2.9 days, which helps you be more profitable and keeps you in a shorter time frame so that your patients are happier when they receive their glasses so quickly. And of course, the non-adapt rate, which is a 0.32. Now, several groups or several doctors have talked to us. Their offices have said, well, you know what? Just one job a day through VCD makes a dramatic difference when it comes to our net profit. That's how the labs help you.
That's great, Susie. That's really good information. So just to be clear, a lot of offices, when they get our catalog, via email or when we're off in the office training them, they're shocked to find out that the pricing, like here in the case, we say $50 for this progressive. That's a CR39 lens. It's $55 for the poly lens, but that price actually includes the AR. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely, and they are so shocked when they find that out because most of the office tells us there's no way other labs can compete with not only getting the progressives, but having that premium AR included.
That's great. So I guess, one of the things that that we hear that's different about this lab than other labs is the shipping cost, right? Because they have a local lab relationship, they don't pay any shipping on it. But when I do the math, we're still largely less expensive than the local labs, even when shipping. But I know they just rolled out a plan that if you do $1,000 a month, which is about a job a day, that shipping cost is refunded back to your practice. So $1,000 of lens orders eliminates your shipping costs. Now let's talk about this frame kit for just a second, because we said that we want to be really, really clear. The frame kit is no longer required to be a VCD Plus provider. So if in the past you wanted to see the VCD Plus patients on the state of Oklahoma plan, or any of the other plans we have sold out there, but didn't want that frame kit in your office, for whatever reason, you can now choose to be a VCD Plus member. You can buy from the lab, or you can do it at your local lab. In fact, we have a relationship to get stock lenses through Rochester Optical, and if you have an edging facility in your office, you can do all that in your office as well. So the complete eyewear for $13, basically what we're saying is if you have a frame kit, you can add $13 to that complete set of glasses. That's fantastic. I know on the Student Care program that we have, you can get the frame, a cloth and a case, a poly lens, single vision, and I believe the cost is $27.50. And we're getting those the next day because there's no AR coating on it. So those are some tremendous values. So thank you, Susie, for going over that slide with us. Okay, so not just a vision plan lab. This is something that's really important for us to point out because through the first couple of years, we had a tremendous amount of success with our previous partner, PFO, until we grew it too much that they couldn't scale. And that's really where the problem became, is they weren't able to keep up with the demand that we created. Rochester, however, like Susie said, has been in business for over 80 years. They have the ability to scale to all the way up to 3 shifts. So we know we have a business partner that can stay with us all the way through the growth. What a lot of doctors figured out, though, is they would say, well, you know, this pricing is good, but I can't get that much. I can't do $1,000 a month because I only see, you know, maybe 2 or 3 patients a week from Vision Care Direct. And that's the case in some parts of the state as we grow the plan. That'll be the case for a while until we get into your area and are able to sell more plans. But it's important to know you can use this lab for any patient as long as the vision plan that they're bringing in doesn't require you to use their lab. And of course, we're trying to fight that legislatively. So cash pay patients, second pair sales, contact lens wearers, you can use it as an anti-walkout strategy. You can create a complete value package. And it's also a vision plan alternative. We have a lot of doctors that will come in and say, well, here's what your glasses will cost with your current insurance plan. But if you use our complete value package, this is what they'll cost, and we won't file it on your insurance, and you can save money. Lots of different opportunities to do that. We have several offices that have created a second pair program for backup pair glasses, for contact lens wearers, or people who buy glasses in the office. They'll charge $99 for single vision CR39 glasses with AR. Their cost is less than $30, so they're making a great margin on that. But they're giving something that it's more price competitive than the retail stores in the area can possibly do. So those are great options for you to be able to use the lab for more than just that. Now, again, it's your choice. We would never force our doctors to do that. So what's next? If you haven't already done it, you need to register for an account with Rochester. You need to, if you want the optional 60-piece frame kit, you can send us an email. We can order your kit and get it within a week. The new frame kit, I will tell you, is much nicer than the original frame kit. And it is still the most profitable piece because the frames in that kit only cost us around $5 a piece. And every time you sell one of those, you leave it on the shelf, and we pay you that $90 every time you sell something out of that frame kit. Next is to sign the new provider agreement. We've sent this out multiple times in email. If you don't have a copy of it, the provider agreement lines out being a VCD Plus provider. Please get in touch with us. We'll give you our contact information here at the end. Get that to us. And then try the lenses for yourself. We say take the Pepsi challenge. If you're not 100% happy with the lenses that you get through Rochester Lab or the coatings that come on it, then we will buy those back from you at 100% of your cost. Now, one of the things I want to talk about, Susie, real quick here that we didn't talk about on this previous slide, so let me just back up for one quick second, is we have a blue coat, which is very popular today to put a blue coat on a glass. You can get it through Proventia, you can get it as recharge, but those are expensive. And your sales rate is going to be about 20% of the people that you offer it to, because the cost on those coats are going to be anywhere from $80 to $100. So you're having to charge over $100 to get those coatings onto the patients. We have a coating that matches the quality of those coatings, and your cost is only $10. It's a great margin piece to keep in mind because it'll increase your sales ratio to about 70% of the patients that you offer to, and you can actually increase your margin or offer at the same margin and just some more increase in profitability throughout the year. Okay, so with that, Susie, one of the things that we get to see that a lot of the offices don't in our enrollment periods is we get to talk to all of the members. Of course, we deal with customer complaints, but it's great to work for a company where we have a lot of success stories. And Susie, you had one this year at a meeting that was pretty unique. So I just wanted to see, would you go ahead and share that success story with us?
Oh, certainly, certainly. I was at one of the schools and I was talking about vision plans and VCD Plus, and one lady stood out and she said, "Oh my gosh, these are the worst glasses I've ever had." And the other lady next to her stood up and said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I've never had a problem with VCD glasses, and these are the best glasses I've ever had." So when we went to take a look at what had happened to the one lady whose glasses she said was not good, what we found is they did not use VCD labs. They had used a local lab, and there had been a problem. Well, once we took care of her problem and got her a new pair of glasses, oh my goodness, she is one of the biggest advocates for VCD Plus out there. And she has told me several times that these are the clearest, cleanest glasses, and that they are so crisp that she sees wonderfully. Another thing, James, when we were out of these meetings, is how excited the members were that their doctor was a VCD Plus provider. That's one of the things I heard over and over again, how happy they are.
That's awesome, Susie. Well, thank you for that story. You know, just the other day, I was in one of our offices and I was talking to Jane Tyler. She used to be president for the Arab Board here at the LEOP. And she said, you know, we really struggled supporting the old labs. It was difficult. It was a hard task. But she said, you know, you guys really did a good job of calling patients, taking care of it. But it was hard to come back and try this new lab again. She said, but she was so glad they did that. The customer service at Rochester was really amazing. The quality of the materials that they were getting at the price is unheard of. And so she was just singing praises for it. So really appreciative of that. Actually, I'm trying to get a video from her as well. So with that, let me move on to the last slide here. We are recording this one, so we don't have anybody on to ask questions today. But if you do have a question, you can get in touch with either myself or Susie Brown. And I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Susie, because most of you know me. I've been the state director for the last 5 years. My contact information is on here as well as my cell phone number. But Susie comes to us from the state of Oklahoma. I was able to hire Susie this last September. And she worked for 15 years with EGID, which is the organization that actually hosts and runs all of the meetings for enrollment period for state of Oklahoma employees, all the state of Oklahoma people on the contract, like the public schools, counties, cities, etc. Susie has a wealth of knowledge on that side that I've heard of. She has great relationships with that. And so we're very excited to have Susie Brown. So if you get a chance to see Susie, please welcome her to the team. She has a background growing up as an ophthalmologist daughter, so she's learning very quickly at every meeting with her doctor. So please welcome Susie. Her contact information is there. She lives in the Oklahoma City area, so she's going to be closer to a lot of the patients, or doctors that we have, and patients in that area. So thank you for that. Susie, great job today on this. We hope everybody has a prosperous new year in 2018. Susie, any last comment?
Well, yeah, I'm so excited to be with VCD. I'm just loving going out and talking to everybody and helping, of course, the patients and our doctors as much as possible.
Great. Thank you very much. You guys have a good one. And this will end the meeting.